Good evening, everybody, and welcome to That's Good Pasta, our creepy pasta podcast. And today, with me, as always, is my producer, my tech boy, the scamp of scamps of That's Good Stuff, and his name would be
Jared.
Um. So today, everybody, we have not exactly a creepy pasta, but a horror tale of the internet and the horrible decision of one in praise of shadows. And we kind of thought we should do this because everybody's talking about it. And me and Jared are kind of horror aficionados. And we're like, this is the most horrifying thing we've ever seen on the internet for a long time. So
Usually we bring you the spaghetti, the linguine. Today we're bringing some rigatoni to you.
rigatoni. Oh my god.
Thick noodle.
Can it be some fried ravioli, Jared?
No, that's for later.
Well, for those who don't know, Jared makes a fantastic ravioli.
I don't know why I make good Italian food. I'm not Italian.
He's not Italian. He's not even close to being Italian. Well, no, I guess you are. You're half Spanish. But, you know, Spanish and Mexican, man. I mean...
Makes Italian.
Makes Italian.
I'm sorry,
Who knew?
I'm sorry, Italians. I didn't mean that.
Don't whack me. All right, so... We are discussing In Praise of Shadows. I guess it would be a hit piece video, really. On...
He had a meltdown.
Yeah. On... The video's called Bad Conservative Horror. And basically, inside of this 3-hour video, he kind of has a brief moment where he talks about conservative horror. And then the rest of the 2 hours and 30 minutes is basically him just complaining about other YouTubers and how he's not as successful as he wants to be. He complains about his fans, about criticisms, about Twitter. He has an epic meltdown on the horror titan of YouTube right now, Wendigoon. He goes after some gun tubers that pretty much all the guys I follow, which I think is hilarious. And basically just says, you know, I deserve more of this attention that these people are getting. And then pretty much paints every single one of these people as either racist, hardcore right fanatics, and...
Fascist bootlickers.
Biggest fascist bootlickers on the internet.
Fascist bootlickers, people who people who praise the state killing people for that was like criticism of Donut Operator, who I'm a huge fan of.
He said Wendigoon started a militia.
Yeah, the Boogaloo boy,
yeah.
The Boogaloo Boys, which I don't. That's not even true, but
I want to start off real fast saying I was a fan of In Praise of Shadows in the beginning. I can't remember the first video I saw from him, but it was a while back, and he did some good videos, and I liked his work. And before this came out, I was notified, new video, YouTube notifications. I was excited because it was like 3 hours. I was like, oh man, I can listen to this at work.
Also, for those who don't know, me and Jared are huge fans of long form video essays. Like the longer, the better. And nobody in our friend group understands that. We're like, oh, watch this 9-hour video, and they all kind of like look at us with like 1,000-yard stares, like, what?
We just watched EFAP's 12-hour video of Ultimate Destiny. But coming back to it, I was a fan. I was excited. I watched it, and I had to tell everyone on our podcast. And I was like, dude, I've never seen this before. I'm disappointed. And I'm a little shocked.
Yeah, and same thing. I was a fan of In Praise of Shadows. I think Jared actually turned me on to him. In fact, he's one of the reasons why I watched that the Night Flyer, that Stephen King vampire book, or book and movie, which is great. It's a great book and it's a great movie. And the reason I watched it was because of In Praise of Shadows videos. I mean, he was a bit of a left-leaning guy, but I don't mind that because if it's generally entertaining and he has like an actual well thought out argument, there's no reason why you can't watch something like that. Yeah. Even if your views don't exactly align with it, it's okay to watch it because it's someone else's perspective, which I enjoy. I really do.
You have a lot in common. Like he did a 2-hour video on Courage the Cowardly Dog, like the whole series. I loved that.
Yeah, I love that video. And there is an infamous video of him doing, and this is I think what kind of started it was he did a video of The Hills Have Eyes, and that did not get well received, to put it mildly. He basically was putting together Native Americans being cannibals is the representation that they were going for, and the people being eaten by the cannibals were the white imperialists and Americans, and nobody really liked that association because they thought it was a little overbloated, kind of full of himself, and I'll be honest, yeah, it was a bad video, it was a bad take.
I think I actually skipped that video when it came, like when it was
not
first
good.
out.
Yeah.
So I had to rewatch, or I actually had to watch it, and it wasn't the best.
What'd you think? Yeah, it was too hard. It was too far. I don't want to say too far to the left, but it was just
reaching.
very. Yeah, it was very much reaching. I had the same problem with a lot of history buffs on that YouTube channel.
I know him. I don't watch him.
He had a lot of the same issues I had, or with the In Praise of Shadows stuff. Is that he had a video on the Band of Brothers miniseries about how historically accurate and inaccurate it was, and it's one of my favorite series of all time. Less than 20 minutes long, a true story, extremely accurate, and he gave it 20 minutes. And then he goes into Dances with Wolves, which is a fake story based on a book. And he gave that thing over an hour and a half, and it was extremely left-leaning. I was just like, dude, like, why would you spend this much time on something that is completely made up? Even if it's historically accurate, it's still not a real story. Why would you do that and give what is arguably one of the best miniseries of all time, and also extremely accurate, hardly a look at? And so I had that really same bad feeling I had with his Hills Have Eyes review for In Praise of Shadows.
Wolves don't have a political agenda. I don't know where he gets off. What was really crazy when I watched that video I'm sorry, the first chapter.
And you're talking about the
conservative
horror one, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Starts off with him going to a convention where Kevin Spacey's the main star that they got or booked, and he complains the whole time about like how it wasn't great. And then he mentions another YouTuber who went to the same convention. He didn't have the greatest review of it, but he had a good time. He made the most of it. Just had a genuinely good time. And that was the first red flag. He just gave that guy so much crap for, like, you have a responsibility to your fans to point out all the wrong.
And I think that people who are in my line of work have a certain level of responsibility to appropriately cover the things that we choose to talk about. So in my opinion, making a glowing half-hour-long video about how cool Mad Monster is in the wake of them trying to publicly rehabilitate Spacey's image into a right-wing personality at a convention held in the South, which happened within weeks after he appeared on Tucker Carlson's show, is not a very responsible use of your platform.
And I was like, dude, he was just pointing out the positives. He enjoyed it. He's a horror fan. He enjoyed the horror aspects of it. That's when I was like, I understand where you're coming from. I'll keep going. I want to see what you say about these movies.
Yeah, even like his criticism of like the convention itself. He's like, this is the most redneck thing I've ever seen in my life.
Over the weekend, February 16th through the 18th, I traveled to Concord, North Carolina to attend this year's Mad Monster Party, which was far and away the most redneck and unprofessional convention that I had ever been to in my life.
And the whole time he was talking about this convention, it was so condescending and so beneath him, and it was so weird that he was just doing this just to bash it. Yeah. Well, because like even in part of this, like this review that he's doing of this convention, which is an odd swerve, he was talking about that there was no bus, there was no transport, so I had to walk.
Parking, yeah.
Yeah, I had to walk, and I'm not in great shape. I'm just like, huh?
And then another point after that was the whole, I didn't eat the whole day because there was no snack vendors. And then he's like, oh, I learned that there was snack food in the court of the hotel.
But only the next day.
But they didn't have good indication of that. I was like, dude, you gotta check out everything. You can't just...
Yeah. Well, and one of the reviewers I was watching was because In Praise of the Shadows was complaining about, this horror convention isn't overflowing with the way it should be, and I think it's because of Kevin Spacey's
involvement,
presence. Yeah, but the guy that was reviewing the video was like, dude, it's a horror convention in like, I think it was like Missouri or somewhere, like someplace very out of Idaho. He's like, this isn't Comic-Con. This isn't like a major like event. It's just a small horror centric convention. Now, granted, your criticism of Kevin Spacey being there, that's a valid criticism. I think that's a valid criticism.
Yeah.
I'm not even going to go into Kevin Spacey's thing.
Because all the alleged stuff is pretty
bad,
if
yes.
It's real, yeah.
But that's the thing, is it's also alleged, so you can't really take it at face value. But it is a criticism that he's there at a horror convention. That's a little odd. The only thing horror related I think I know him from is Seven, really.
Yeah, that's what he mentioned.
Granted, that's a great movie, but I wouldn't put all of my focus on Kevin Spacey's career for that role.
And that's like a thriller. Like, it's not like Jason or Freddy Krueger, but
or Saw or something like that.
It's what they could get.
Like if Cary Elwes was there, I could see that because he was in Saw. That, I get that. But yeah, granted, that is a full what do you call it? Valid criticism.
Yeah.
But his reasonings for his criticism were just so entitled, and I'm like, what are you talking about, man? Like, what are you trying to complain about? That you were uncomfortable? Welcome to going to a convention, dude.
Sounds pretty Seriously. White and privileged, my guy. I don't know what
like, and for the viewers at home, me and Jared are not white. We're just saying that right now. So we may look it, but we're not. I know it's hard, especially in these.
I shock the cops every time they stop me. They're like, "What?
Mexican? What?"
And then chapter 2, this is where I started to be like, okay, I think something's going on with him. Chapter 2, well, there's more about him and what he's going through because of the Hills That Have Eyes, but that's been talked about, and we'll probably come back to that later. The second point that I haven't seen talked about enough was his criticism of Late Night with the Devil, and them using...
What was that about?
Using AI-generated art. And he's like...
And how that's a conservative movement, I guess? Like, what?
He's like, how can't you... Now that you made all this money, you can afford an artist to retroactively put new art in there. I was like, dude, it's done. Yeah, it sucks, but still, it's a tool they used.
And I'm sorry, but listen to any conservative podcaster, and they'll tell you that AI is literally the devil. So, I mean...
Yeah.
What? And the criticism that he laid on for Late Night with the Devil, which I still want to see, by the way, that seems like a cool premise, is that this guy comes out, he tells a joke, and it's awkward, and then he walks around. He's like, I guess the reason why he walked around is because, do you know why? Jokes are hard to write. I'm like, dude, maybe it's because he wants you to feel uneasy that this person who's supposed to be comforting and jokingly is actually off-putting. Something's not right. I'm like, that seems like a good, like, creative choice in a movie, honestly. So I'm not sure what that was. Why would you be so biting about that?
I knew exactly what I was in for as soon as the movie started, and I could already tell that the script needed some extra work badly. When, at the beginning of the late night talk show, the host only tells one joke in his opening monologue before he moves on to sit down behind his desk to interview the guest.
I want to talk about the art one more time.
Good.
We use AI art in our thumbnails. We could do art genuinely, but like ourselves, but it would take us 4 hours. As opposed
we used to do that, by the way, and me and Jared have full-time jobs, and I'm going to school, and so we use an AI generator for stuff. We try to not use anything copyrighted because we're scared to death. So,
and I've touched up a few, like our the space one. I forget what it's called, but
the Doomstar, not Doomstar. Yeah. That's Metalocalypse. That's a whole other review we'll do.
But a lot of them I touch up so they're not 100% AI, and we've had our little touch to it. But still, it is a great tool for stuff that you're not a pro at.
Yeah.
Like our friend Alex, he could help us, but he's got a full-time job and he has different interests. But
shout out to Alex, by the way. He did our That's Good Pasta logo redesign for this show, and so I kind of want to plug his Instagram if we have a choice on that. He's fantastic, but the thing is, when I commissioned Alex to do the That's Good Pasta thing, it took him, I think, like 4.5 weeks or something like that to do that.
Yeah.
Because, I mean, he's busy. He doesn't have the time to do it. And so, same thing with us. We don't have time to just do that. And so, if you're in a production standpoint for this movie, if you can use AI-generated art to further production or to limit production costs, and honestly, I think the AI stuff kind of works in that realm of creepy, like, off-puttingness. Because if you just look at a purely AI-generated image, it can be really creepy. Just like, ugh.
And it's not like anyone's fooled by it. Like, oh, you got around art. You can tell it's AI art.
Well, I know, like, A24 got a lot of flack for using AI for the Civil War thing.
Yeah, the poster.
Which I kind of agree with, because they just didn't look very good. Yeah. And A24 is very much... this is a criticism of A24, is that they are generally more independent artist-based. Mm-hmm. So when you use AI, something like that, it's just very contradictory to what they normally do, so it doesn't really work very well. Yeah. But for a small independent movie like what is it called?
Late Night with the Devil.
Late Night with the Devil. That fits. Yeah. I think that's a good choice. And so I don't understand why he thought this was such a criticism to even voice it.
Such a spin in the face to artists.
Yeah, and not just that, but just to lay it all out, say, oh, well, because this is the conservatives' fault. And I'm like, what? That's an odd reach. I doubt any conservative would go see this movie, really.
Yeah.
Like, my mother gave me all kinds of hell for watching Has Been Hotel. So.
I just want to cap this part off with saying I think it was valid in their case, and it wasn't like the poster, it wasn't like promotional art, it was just some art in the movie. Like
inside the movie, yeah.
I think it's completely valid, and I don't think they have to retroactively. I like that they said sorry, we'll probably do better next time, but totally fair.
Yeah. Well, since you're a little more familiar with the video, because I didn't get to watch the whole video in like its entirety because he took. Maybe I should talk about that, about how he took it down. Or do you want to talk about that after we do the Wendigoon part?
There's 2 more parts, the actual movies and then Wendigoon. So let's go over the movie thing. It won't take long at all. Okay.
Because again, he didn't spend a lot of time on it apparently.
The only movie parts were he goes over how his opinion of horror is it's about love, it's about being punk rock, it's always been about like how the unaccepted have a place, and I was like, I'm pretty sure it's about guts. About
guts, gore, and scariness.
Yeah.
That's why I got into it. That's why I got into creepypastas, because I like being scared at night. Like,
and then he just
honestly,
he lists off a bunch of conservative directors he thinks is okay because they're like, oh, they did a good job. Again, being very belittling. And then he goes after Jason Blumhouse of that studio, and just how like, oh, there's not enough representation in that studio. It doesn't sound malicious at all. It just sounds like that's the way it is. It like happened that way. And then he goes after, this is when he starts calling everyone Nazis, like Ben Shapiro, Jason for being on his show. And this is when I was like, okay, this guy is clearly like melting down. He's clearly has something going on, because when you start doing that, I'm like, you need to calm down.
One of his biggest crimes against horror to me is that he sat down to be a guest on the Ben Shapiro show. You know, the old 1940s phrase that roughly goes, if you have 10 people and 1 Nazi willingly sitting down for a meal together, then all you have is 11 Nazis.
Yeah.
But that was the whole movie part. How Jason Blumhouse is a hack and just good conservatives there are.
And I understand the criticism of Jason Blumhouse. He's pretty much turned Blumhouse Studios into kind of a factory of horror movies. And yeah, they're not all great.
But
I get it.
He is what I think movie studios and a lot of people say movie studios should go to is the lower budget and maybe like do two like $10 million movies and maybe they'll gross like 100 million,
right?
And then you'll get your profit instead of these 100 million movies and getting nothing back.
Which is what A24 was doing for a long time. They would do these small indie productions. They would buy them and have a way to distribute them. Small amount of money, but they get a lot of hype, and you get
like
a big return.
Saw, like all these like Hereditary stuff and like the
Midsommar. I mean, these movies were very small budgets, but they had a massive impact. But there was a lot of A24. Anybody can make an A24 movie, basically.
Blair Witch was made for like what 70,000, and it made like 100 million.
I think barely even that. I think the most it actually spent was the marketing campaign to go call your theater to have it to request it. I think that was the more money that they spent on it. Yeah. But hell, the Raka Raka guys from YouTube did gangbusters from their movie, which was made for hardly anything,
but that was awesome.
It was great, but that
horror pioneered, and we should take a note from.
Yeah, if you want to say that's punk rock, sure, the DIY aspect of it, yeah, that is kind of punk rock related. But don't think it's about resisting the man. It's like, no, we want to have a horror movie with guts. That's like the main contributing factor to most horror movies.
I mean, it's movies. It's the most It's the most capitalist thing.
Yeah, and yes, you do have certain horror movies that can be more contextualized into a deeper meaning, like The Thing, The Night of the Living Dead, The Lighthouse. I mean, that is an art house movie, but the main goal was to make money, and most of those movies were made on a very small budget. So the maximum amount of profit was available for them.
Yeah.
And so I hate that whole and it's every single creator that I've ever followed. It's like, oh, those bastards with the money. I'm just like, without the bastards with the money, your movie doesn't get made.
Yeah, it's what makes the world go round.
Yeah.
And this part of the video, I was getting kind of done with his opinions. I was being open-minded. It got to here, and I was like, God, dude, what are you doing?
And I'll be honest, like, okay, you can have your opinions of Ben Shapiro. I get it. He's not everybody's cup of tea. A lot of times he gets on my nerves, but I'm sorry, but if you keep calling Jews the N-word, which is not the other N-word, but that N-word, my other half is Jewish, and I get very, very offended by that. So, like, at that point when he said that, I was just like, okay, cool, I'd probably slap you, but whatever.
It's just like, you know what they did, and you're just calling anyone that? Like, why are you comparing?
Yeah.
Anyway.
It's the word with the same thing with the word fascist. And he uses fascists all the time in this video.
Oh, we're about to get to that, because we're getting to the last chapter. When he just goes after our boy.
The biggest chapters. In this. Okay, Jared, give us a summary of chapter 4.
So, in chapter 4, because I saw Wendigoon on the thumbnail, I was like, oh, sweet, they're teaming up. I was so excited. I was like, can't wait to see Wendigoon. And I saw Wendigoon.
Me and Jared were some of the first people to watch Wendigoon. Like,
when he's talking about guns.
Yeah, were you under 100,000 subscribers, Jared?
Yeah.
Right here. High five. Like, we are some OG viewers of this guy.
It's no secret that our channel is more right-leaning. We're mainly middle, but sometimes
we're extremely libertarian. It's just that we'll say that much.
But
we like killing everybody idiots.
I love Wendigoon because he was wholesome. He was that Christian youth pastor that I grew up with, and I just really enjoy him. Like, he's clean. He's like. And then he's like fair. He's like treats everyone roughly the same, because a lot of YouTubers are like, oh yeah, I believe in everything, or like everyone should believe what they want. Anyway, Christians suck in this stupid, and I'm like, what are you talking about, dude? That's not it.
Yeah, that's not the same application of your belief across all time. Like, or, sorry, about across all religions. Like, oh no, we like everybody. Christians, get the heck out of here. So,
but anyway, we get to chapter 4, and he is, because of The Hills Have Eyes, he's taking a lot of flack, and I feel like because he was at 500,000 at the time, and he's been doing YouTube a while. a lot longer than Wendigoon. I think this finally bubbled up, and he was just not. He was like, I should be there. I want this. He was greedy, or he was envious.
He's taking viewers from who should be watching me.
Yeah,
I'm like,
I'm the auteur. I am talking about art, and he's just talking about tier lists. I think he was extremely jealous, envious, and it just got to a point where he's calling him out.
It's almost poisonous, the amount of vitriol that this guy was spewing. It was just...
And in insulting Wendigoon, or calling him out, there was some casualty, some collateral damage, because he goes after everyone. No one talks about it much, but he goes after someone else I follow, is Nick Crowley. Mm-hmm. He does the most basic, I'm not in a bad way. He just goes over true crime, creepy videos, stuff like that, and he's like, Nick Crowley, who shows just gore and despicable videos for fans. His stuff is censored. He's never shown anything out of hand.
Okay, and this is what cracked me out about this. It's you have some of the most offensive gun tubers. You have Donut, Brandon, and mostly just those two. And then you have just the nerve to go after Crowley. Dude, the guy is probably the least offensive person on this list.
No offense, he is so unoffensive.
No, maybe besides Oompaville, and Oompaville kind of crosses that sometimes with some of his cringe stuff. But honestly, it comes out of a wholesome place, and I understand that. Okay, sounds weird. It's a very white perspective. If it's a very white style of videos, but just I
was like, why did you white him? Why did you?
Yes.
What made you mad about him?
He goes after Oompaville, Brandon Buckingham, and he called him a gun tuber and a...
I'm not familiar with Brandon Buckingham.
Brandon's very much I don't want to say he's a TikTok type of guy, almost like Mr. Beast type thing. Not quite as explosive, because he doesn't have nearly the budget that Mr. Beast does, but just kind of in that same vein. But he also does some video essays, mm-hmm. and they're very entertaining. The one he did about...
I did watch his video on this, and I liked it. It was really good.
It was very good, yeah. But with Brandon Buckingham, he goes after him, and he posted a video or a photo of Brandon with his grandfather, who apparently had brain surgery, and then called him a sexual predator. And I'm like, dude, that's not okay. And this
is a whole thing I'm seeing with these reaction, a lot of reactionary YouTubers I watch, Turkey Tom, who gets crapped on.
Oh yeah, with Turkey Tom. I'm like, dude, the dude is not far right, and if anything, he's the leftist buddy of these guys.
Yeah.
They keep him around because they've been friends forever. And same with Destiny. Destiny's not a right-leaning YouTuber. He's the opposite of that.
Yeah.
But they're still friends with him because they still have conversations with him. So, Wendigoon and Destiny and Turkey Tom are all not... Well, he's closer, I think, with Turkey Tom, but they still have a very cordial relationship.
I like how Turkey Tom got Wendigoon a crucifix for his wedding. Mm-hmm. That was fun.
But it was so you could see the envy on In Praise of Shadow's face when he was talking about this. Everything about Wendigoon just pissed him off because he didn't have the subscribers. He didn't have the YouTube viewers. Hell, we've been doing... Jared, how long have we been doing YouTube and stuff? Over 10 years?
2009, 2010.
Yeah, we've been doing this for a long time. And are we the best? No. God, no. But we do this to have fun with our friends. Me and Jared, we used to live far apart from each other, and we would talk over video and stuff like that. That's just how we hang out. But this is how we hang out with our friends. We like to come together and talk. And we don't always have that option of going out for 4 or 5 hours and like we used to do and have that pizza parlor thing like Joseph used to say. So this is how we communicate with each other and just have fun with it. And we're like, hey, why don't we put it on YouTube? It's fun. Why not? But the goal of this was always just to have fun. And I understand from a professional side of things, because he would talk, or In Praise of Shadows would talk about well, I haven't had a lot of revenue. I only got $500 from ad revenue last month, and that's not enough to live on. And I'm like, dude, you might need to get a second job or something, because that's what me and Jared have always done. We've always worked. We've always worked and done this. And not to put down Praise of Shadows' production value, because he is quite good at what he does. But we produce how many videos a week?
Like 4 or
like
5.
three or like 4 or 5 videos a week, and we just do this, and we all have jobs. We all work 40 hours a week, and I go to school. Like, it's just part of the routine, man. You have to have something else if it's not working for you. And if YouTube did pick up for us, yeah, we would have those concerns. I would also have like a business manager to have to voice those concerns. Hey, how can I expand my presence more, instead of just complaining in my basement? Oh, I don't have enough views to feed myself. And I'm like, you know what I could do with the extra $500 a month? A lot, actually. So the more and more that he talked, the more and more it got me so angry, because he's just being lazy. Like, it really pissed me off. And I just
Also, there is a few other things in this segment. I just wanted to highlight the donut
there's a lot
operator
in this
one.
segment. Oh my God! Sorry. Yes, go for it.
I wasn't too familiar with him up until recently. Seems like the sweetest guy. And then
Hi everyone.
Hi everyone, Donut here. We got a couple of shootings for you today.
But yeah, he was a cop. He's doing YouTube now because he makes more doing that, and he watches like footage, like cop footage. He highlights a video of a predator that gets shot in the head, and
sorry, I laugh because yeah, a predator got shot in the face, like,
and he was criticizing Donut Operator for showing this and being happy about it, like, and he was like, in the thumbnail you see this terrified man about to get shot, and I was like, he's a predator, good.
Content is very pro-state, pro-cop, pro-gun, and pro-death to people who don't share his beliefs propaganda. For example, one of his videos is titled Predator Takes Shotgun to the Face, and features a picture of him smiling in the corner of the thumbnail next to an image of a terrified man about to be executed by cops, with the text that reads, head removal.
Like,
yeah, that's not a man anymore, my guy. That is a child predator.
Why are you defending this? This is not a hill to die on. This is...
And by the way, you should watch that video, because he lists out what the guy did, and it's like, cool, awesome. He should have got shot twice.
Yeah,
would have loved to see that.
I did watch that video after, and I was like, dude, good.
Yeah, but and that's the thing about Donut stuff too, is that he doesn't just show cops shooting people. He actually goes through some videos where, yeah, well, just the procedures, and even when cops fail, he has like a whole cops failing video. Like, dude, these guys screwed up.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know if you know about the Acorn incident. Have you heard of that?
No.
So this guy, and Donut talks about it on there. This cop basically arrests this guy, and an acorn falls onto his car. He thinks it's a silenced pistol that the guy has inside the vehicle, and he's shooting at him. The cop does an action roll, calls out on the radio, officer down, takes out his Glock and proceeds to empty it into his own car at the suspect.
Jeez.
And in the video, Donut's just like, what are you doing? But he goes through these procedures, like, this guy wasn't taught correctly, this guy wasn't trained correctly, this guy had no procedural awareness, no situational awareness. He put his partner in jeopardy. He put everybody else out on the radio. Like, he called out officer down. That whole communication now is all focused on him. He made a huge mistake, and he just rakes him over the coals with it. But in Praise of Shadows doesn't talk about that. He talks about, oh, he shot a child predator. What a dick. I'm like, honestly, he should have shot him in the dick, man. Like, come on. So
we'll cap off this this segment with Wendigoons and all his issues with him. He brings up how everyone calls him dad, and tries to paint it as a weird sexual thing. I'm like, have you? Yeah, he's the youth pastor dad. He is a dad-like man. He's very not.
Have you seen him?
His age. He's very like mature. And And I was like, why are you trying to make this like ugly and stuff?
On Creepcast, there are two Papas, Papa Meat and Papa Wendigoon, sir.
So I was upset with that. Then he mentions the whole
Algonquin thing.
Oh yeah, that too. The whole how his grandfather, his whole name basically, his YouTube name Wendigoon, and how Wendigoon has talked about this a lot, and how his grandfather used to tell him stories of the Wendigoon, and so he has a huge appreciation for like campfire stories, cryptids, and stuff like that. Traditional like stories being told to younger generations. And that's what it's always been, but he's trying to be like, oh, you shouldn't be saying that. The tribes don't say it because it's disrespectful and it brings bad luck.
How he's co-opted the name of the Native Americans for his own financial gain. I'm just like, dude, it's not even the actual name. It's a play on the name.
Yeah, how he's not really the tribe he's from isn't even around that part and stuff like that. And I was like, okay. I mean, he's been open with it. He's told his reasons, all fair. And then he talks about how he wears Hawaiian shirts and how the Boogaloo Gang, or whatever they're called,
the boys, Boogaloo Boys,
they wear those shirts too. And so he must be a fascist or like a racist. And he started that whole group. And then even Wendigoon was honest about that. He was like, oh, I was part of that before he got all crazy. But I got out as soon as possible, or as soon as there was red flags.
And okay, quick side note on that. So yeah, like the Hawaiian shirts thing, that's been a libertarian thing for like years. The Boogaloo Boys didn't invent that; they just kind of popularized it. And like a lot of gun tubers and stuff, they all wear Hawaiian shirts because it's kind of it's supposed to look badass, but also look ridiculous. And like one of their biggest things like for gun tubers is like looking up to Tom Selleck in Magnum PI.
Yeah.
Because you got an insanely macho man wearing a ridiculous shirt and short shorts, and he still has more sexual fortitude than everybody in the room. What? And that's why like the Hawaiian shirt's so ridiculous with gun tubers is because they'll put like on these like horribly looking brightly colored Hawaiian shirts and then put tack gear on it. It looks hilarious. That's why they do it.
But Wendigoon started that, Thomas, and he was basically killing people with them.
Yes. He is basically the big H man. I don't want to say it on here, but that.
But it went on.
He also
an hour.
He also comes from Appalachia, Jared. A very white place. Oop, there's a gnat in here.
You are racist unless you tell me otherwise if you live there.
Yeah.
So.
You're basically, if you're white and from Appalachia, you're just automatically racist. Unless you clarify. Otherwise...
You gotta prove it to him.
Yeah, you gotta prove it to In Praise of Shadows that you're not racist. He will
okay you, and then you can go about your business, but you gotta go to him first.
Well, where are your papers? Oh, you don't have any papers. So...
But yeah, that was the whole video. The end of the video is just bashing those guys for no reason. Didn't do his research for anything in this video. And then the whole aftermath, if you want to talk about that.
It's basically and again, we're kind of riding this trend. Sorry about that. It is basically a genre now of In Praise of Shadow reaction videos. Like, it's crazy. The amount of videos that are made about this guy are just nuts. But ironically, none from Wendigoon. None. And he only did a tweet like, hey, I'm sorry I feel that way. Like, that's not what I intended. Please don't bully everybody or bully him. This is his opinion. And then you have Brandon Herrera goes like, nobody touches my boy. Bully him. So
I'm proud of both of them.
I know. It's just like, good on both of you. Because like the Unsubscribed podcast that Brandon, Donut, and Eli Double Fap host, like Wendigoon's like a really good friend of theirs, and again, they're more right leaning, but they understand his kind of conservative views and they respect it. So when someone goes after their friend like that, they just go, Gah!
Yeah, because when you have a friend on the opposite end, you just accept them. You
accept them. Yeah.
Don't go after them, call them out.
Yeah. Go, call them insanely racist unless you prove otherwise. So. But yeah, it was just the whole okay, and here's my reaction to his reaction, in Praise of Shadows reaction. The dude, I never got to watch the full video. One, he cut out all of Wendigoon's section after the reaction to this. So I never got to watch the whole thing as part of the video. And then I wanted to watch the video again, just to clarify some of the stuff they did. Then he took it down. Took down the entire video. Which, ironically, is not going to make him any money now because people want to watch it, to see it. Even if they downlike it, at least he gets a view and gets viewership off of it. Now he can't even do that.
Well, he's trying to repair his reputation, so he's trying to get rid of it.
Yeah. So then his his subscriber count, by the way, plummets from a little over 500,000, and I think it's almost below 200,000 now.
Dang.
Like the dude shot himself in the foot. Not just in the foot. He put himself in the wood chipper, basically.
I'm gonna check real quick.
I don't even know what it's at. And I told Jared this afternoon because someone posted a tweet about In Praise of Shadows Twitter, or X, whatever you want to call it. He completely switched it to private after posting all this information, all this stuff with. Basically, In Praise of Shadows had to go after the people that he went after inside the video after they complained to him about this. And none of the... everything that he said basically dug the hole deeper, honestly. Because even with
his apologies were terrible.
Yeah, his apologies. Oh my god, the Brandon Buckingham one pissed me off, man. I couldn't believe he actually did that. He's like, "Oh, I'm sorry I feel that way, but you're still an alleged, predator," and which is not true. It's not true, guys. Like, it's from Sneeko. Like, that guy's just a piece of crap. And do you have his viewer count?
Well, the video's definitely gone.
Yeah.
It's saying he's at 390,000.
Okay. Maybe he got an uptick again. I don't know. But still, I mean, you lost almost half of your subscriptions. Which,
yeah, you're not taken seriously anymore, which he wants, so...
Yeah.
You're just a meme now, so...
Jeez, and at the end of the freaking video, he even goes like, well, I just need to take 2 months off and reevaluate all this. I'm just like, dude, you're complaining about not making...
I don't think you can afford that, my guy.
Yeah, I know. He complains about not doing well on YouTube and not making ad revenue, and then he's like, I'm going to take a break from YouTube and not earn ad revenue. I'm like, are you looking for a job in this 2 months of time or what? It's just everything that he did was counteractive to making it better. Everything that he did made it worse. And
I'm sorry, you can't hide behind the fact that you made this video in reaction to your feelings and you didn't have time to research. When you're editing a video, you go over things like 1,000 times. There's no way you couldn't have I messed up there. Oh, how did that get in there? You knew what you were doing. This was planned and everything.
And I understand the reaction to not getting a video well received or doesn't get enough views. Like,
that's mine every week.
Yeah, like we had like last week we put out like 5 videos and barely any of them got watched. And we're used to like in the mid hundreds kind of around that type of viewership, and nobody watched our videos that week. And me and Jared are going, "No!" But that's part of it. Like,
and to be fair, I didn't work hard on that one at all.
I know,
but there is one that I worked so hard on and got like 50, and I was like,
yeah.
And then, but it's like the ones that I was not expecting. I got like 700 and stuff like that.
Our freaking our Ranger video. I swear I pulled that out of the hat because during an episode going like, I don't have anything for next time. I need to look up something now. And I found him like, oh, we could do this. And it's our most watched video for That's Good Pasta. How? No idea. And also one of the movies that we didn't like all that much was Avatar: The Shape of Water. That's our most watched video at over 18,000 views. We hated that. Or at least we did. Michael was okay with it. But you can't predict that. Like our Citadel video. We basically lose our minds in that video. We hated watching that show. And it's our second highest rated video.
People like when we're in pain.
We do. Apparently they do. Why do you hate us? But it's you can't predict that. Like you really can't. Even with this, I have no idea how this is going to do. We just thought this was going to be interesting to talk about. But
it's finally time to just get it all off our chests and be done with it. I'm getting kind of tired of talking about this and hearing about this.
Well, and that's the thing is that it keeps coming back around, and that's why we kind of decided to do it. We're just like, dude, this is just it's still going. It's still going. So, yeah. So that's kind of all we had to really talk about today. Sorry if it was kind of a downer, but we had to get a lot of off of our chests because
it's a downer Jared and an upper because it's hilarious and never do this.
I think that's what's honestly one of the funniest things about this is that he thought that this was a good idea.
He still thinks he's fully behind this.
Yeah, this is what's going to get me back on track. They're going to take me seriously after this. And literally everybody's pointing and laughing at him like, dude, like what? So it's very interesting. If you can watch some other videos about it, I highly recommend that. Is it the Wayback Machine that actually has the full video? Do you know?
Probably.
Okay. You can probably watch the whole thing there. It's 3 hours of someone basically bullcrapping you, but
you can get it secondhand from all the guys he criticized because they all go over.
Yeah, like Brandon Buckingham has one, Turkey Tom has one, Oompaville
has a good one.
That was really good. Is it Shoe on Head has one who he also called out, which I'm like, why? But okay. Watch the Unsubscribe podcast reaction to this. Brandon Herrera and Donut's reaction. It is honestly one of the funniest things I've ever seen.
Subscribe to a lot of these guys because it's just like, why did you go after them? Like,
yeah, and watch their content to judge for yourself. Yes, you're going to have a different perspective, but it doesn't mean that they're these fascist, like imperialist, capitalist pigs that are coming after you. It's like, dude, like, chill. You wear a fringe on your jacket. Nobody's coming after you.
That was a weird fit. I was like, what are you wearing?
That was weird. Yeah, but yeah.
Final words. Do your research. Don't get mad at people. Talk it out before you go unhinged. And enjoy the cons. Even if there's a bad person there, there's still people putting it on and doing a good job.
And I forgot his X thing. Like, he put his X to private now, so nobody can talk to him. I'm like, that's when you know he's gone. Like, don't believe me. So, anyway.
Yeah.
So is that all you got?
That's all I got.
Okay. Well, we are unfortunately going to have to take another small break from That's Good Pasta because I'm moving and I'm going out of town. So it'll probably be about 2 weeks before we get another episode in. Not 2 months, like in Praise of Shadows, because we can't earn ad revenue. I'm actually working. So, but we will have a big one next time for you, I promise. So Jerry doesn't know what we're doing yet, but we're going to have another one. So
please watch our other stuff too. Joseph and Michael work hard on this as well. And Jonah does too. He does a lot of our thumbnails. Please subscribe.
Yeah. He's the actual artist in the group on this one. So
please subscribe.
He's not just our AI.
It's true.
Anyway. All right. Well, that's about all I got today. And you got anything else, Jared?
No, that's all.
All right. Well, everybody, stay creepy out there. Bye.